main screen. There we go.
Hello.
Hello. So any big news happened today?
Yes.
Oh, there was the WNBA All-Star game last night. So
McLaren finished 1-2 at the Hungaroring in F1, but Lewis Hamilton got his second podium in a row, third place twice in 2 races in a row, which is it's his 200th podium, but also he's 39 years old. That is an impressive feat, and he's on his goodbye tour from Mercedes. Hamilton is going to Ferrari next year.
old?
He's 39 years old. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I forgot my accessory. Everybody, where are your accessories today? There we go. Yeah. Look it on me. Yeah. All right. So, been a slow news day today. We didn't have too much going on. Just the president dropping out of the presidential race, which I think we've all long suspected is going to happen.
Here's the thing. You and I have been saying this for forever, right? I think everybody except for Democrats was aware of the state. And last week, we railed on the Democrats and Kamala Harris. And obviously, we're all going to have to learn how to pronounce her name correctly at this point in time. But
yes, Kamala.
Because she is going to be facing questions about what did she know and when did she know it between now and November.
Well, because I think the Republicans' tactic now,
yeah,
we saw it. In fact, J.D. Vance posted just after the announcement is that if Joe Biden is not mentally there enough to run for president, why is he president?
Yeah.
I don't know. There is a difference between running and doing the job and running for the office.
Yes. That's
what they're
going to claim. They're going to claim that he's okay.
Yeah.
But that, he feels like he lost the country because of a bad debate performance.
No.
Now, I think that's what they're going to claim.
Oh, no. I know they're going to claim it. But, the problem with the debate performance that I think the Democrats just don't realize is that it confirmed. It wasn't like it was out of the blue. Like back when Barack Obama blew the first debate against Mitt Romney in 2012, that was out of the blue because, Barack Obama was a renowned orator. I'm like, the thing is, Joe Biden's never been a great orator, but he wasn't ever, we've watched over the last few years. Like there are speeches where he was, going off the road and he wasn't pulling like a full Mitch McConnell, but he was, clearly his best days are behind him, and that debate performance just crystallized the opinion.
Did you see the thing that Jon Stewart did on the Daily Show? And Jon Stewart has been a welcome addition returning to political coverage.
Yes.
He did a thing where he showed Biden walking off stage, and then a reporter calls a question to him, and Biden just freezes. And then he turns and he gives the craziest grin.
Like a Kenneth Copeland type grin?
More like a Jeffrey Dahmer type grin. Like, I'm going to eat you. We can call it the clip. It was crazy. And he's just looked so demented, so diminished over the last year. Even before, during the primaries, I would watch him getting on and off of airplanes. I'm like, that guy, there's something wrong with him. And I'm sure it would be very interesting to see what happens if the Republicans investigate under subpoena, which I think they could do, just to let our fans know AJ's having computer problems.
Yeah, she was freezing up quite a bit. So
yeah, sorry. I think our show.
I hope she can join us later. She can. She's seeing us. Hi, AJ.
AJ, I know you're probably watching the show. Kick your kids off of Netflix. Get that, we'll be good to go. But it is
Second week.
Craig. Thanks for noticing the sign.
Yes.
I forgot what I was saying, but I know that I was in the space of we've known for a long time. I think some of the Democrats have been in denial, but a lot of the Democrats thought they were going to be able to get away with it. Right?
I think so. I mean, I think they thought that, look, if it's the choice between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, then people are going to choose Joe Biden because he's Joe Biden and that's Donald Trump. And I think the recent polling has scared some Democrats in that, Donald Trump can do enough damage with Project 2025 if he gets elected without the House of the Senate. With the House and the Senate, there's nothing stopping him.
Oh my God! Right. I mean, it is. Right.
It's frightening. Yeah. Anybody who's not in the crosshairs of Donald Trump, or anybody who is in the crosshairs of Donald Trump, has got to be frightened right now.
Yeah, I don't think that any American should be happy about the idea of the same party controlling the House, the Senate, and the presidency.
No,
I mean it's just a disaster for us.
And that's how we got the Affordable Care Act.
That's how we got the Affordable Care Act, and even then, right, barely by one vote, which they had to pull that shady shit with. But it's also crazy to think that there was a point in time where the Democrats had a supermajority and they didn't pass anything for a year.
Yeah,
because they're dumb. Yeah, I don't know what the country's in for. I don't know if the Democrats are going to lose the Senate, but if they lose the presidency, if they lose the presidency, they're probably going to lose the Senate.
Yeah.
I mean, what's interesting about it is, we're going to start talking very quickly about who we think the vice presidential choice should be. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a senator because they don't want to take somebody out of the Senate.
There is one senator, though,
that I think
you make a case for, Mark Kelly out of Arizona. And the reason why is Mark Kelly would be replaced by Katie Hobbs, the Democrat governor of Arizona. So they wouldn't necessarily lose the seat if Kelly becomes the vice president in January.
Not a bad choice. Astronaut,
fighter pilot. Yeah, I mean, he's got some professional chops now.
Yeah, and his wife was a victim of an attempted assassination.
Yeah. Craig says it's going to be Whitmer. So I got two tiers, and then we'll talk about some dark horses when it comes to vice president. So our A tier, or at least my A tier, are going to be Josh Shapiro out of Pennsylvania.
Shapiro.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer out of Michigan, Governor Roy Cooper out of North Carolina, or Senator Mark Warner out of Arizona. I can't remember. I think maybe he spells it with a C, which, then cast doubt on his eligibility to be vice president. Spelled Mark with a C.
No, I for sure. If no K, no way.
Yeah, exactly. So those are my A-list ones because they're governors, and they're governors of three of them are governors of states that went for Biden in 2020 are purplish states. I mean, I think Pennsylvania's a little bit more Democratic. I think Michigan's a little bit more Democratic. But again, it's the hinterlands versus the cities. So there are two massive city centers in Pennsylvania that are heavily Democratic, and the rest of the state is fairly Republican. Michigan, same way. There's some population centers, but there's also lots of Republican pockets. North Carolina has been a really interesting case. It's kind of like Georgia in that it's been such a mix of northern transplants and old Southern families that there's a mix there about how conservative is North Carolina. Now, they have some conservative. I mean, they were represented by Jesse Helms. So North Carolina's been uber conservative, but they've also had a lot, their string of Democratic governors. So Southern moderates. Roy Cooper fits into that. Does he bring enough? Would he bring North Carolina into the Democratic column?
Well, so in that space, I've heard people talking about Bashir from Kentucky in the same vein.
Donald Trump won Kentucky by 25 points. There's no, I mean, as popular as Andy Bashir may be, I don't think he flips Kentucky. Now,
Right.
I put him in my B tier of candidates, along with J.B. Pritzker out of Illinois, and because J.B. Pritzker can self-fund, and Pete Buttigieg. None of them are going to bring the state that they're from. Well, I mean, Illinois was supposed to be Democratic, so there's no net gain with Illinois. You're not going to get Kentucky. You're not going to get Indiana, which is where Buttigieg is from. So there really is no net gain within either of these, but they do kind of bring something to the table. Another moderate Democratic Southern, to the extent you want to put Kentucky in the South, governor, and Pete Buttigieg, who is probably the most high-profile gay politician in the United States. And then J.B. Pritzker, just freaking ridiculously wealthy.
Right.
They have pluses and minuses. Buttigieg's time as Secretary of Transportation has not been super helpful. Pritzker, anybody from Illinois is going to get tied to Chicago's political corruption. Bashir is a little bit better, but again, you're not going to flip a 25-point deficit with
no, I agree.
With that. But I think Andy Bashir is a fantastic salesperson. I think he can bring in some moderate Southern independence with him, which I think would be again, this race is going to be won on the independents. It's not going to be run by Democrats staying with the Democrats and Republicans staying with the Republicans. It's going to be won by who can convince the most independents, nonpartisan affiliated voters to side with their candidate.
And in that space, it's going to be interesting to say who is the vice presidential candidate who reflects that diversity of opinion more, like bringing in, I don't know. I mean, it's tough because, right? I mean, we remember all the other stuff. Kamala is a cop. She is the law and order candidate. In fact, I don't know if you've seen her first press release, but I'm going to read it to you. I prosecuted sex predators. Trump is one. I shut down for-profit scam colleges. He ran one. I held big banks accountable. He's owned by one. I'm not just prepared to take on Trump. I'm prepared to beat him.
Spicy. I like it.
Yep.
I like that. That's good stuff.
Yep. I agree.
I think from our libertarian perspective, Kamala does give us a lot of agita because it's like, we've seen her as a prosecutor try and keep somebody on death row when there's ample evidence of their innocence. There's been the fact that she has put lots of African-American men, women, and children in prison for low-level, nonviolent drug offenses. I think there are concerns with her. The fact that she is the immigration czar for the administration, I think it's not going to be super helpful to her unless she can articulate a good plan that makes sense on the border. And I know that plan is not going to be something that I'm going to be all super keen about. I think her plan is going to be more enforcement. I got to get this off. Oh, that's painful.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
Woo! All right. But yeah, you've got to, this election is not going to be won by, appealing to me. I mean, I get that. I'm not saying I'm going to make my peace with a Kamala Harris presidency. But when compared to a Donald Trump presidency, I could suffer for 4 years. which is not. I mean, she should not be cutting video off of this show and running this as an official endorsement of any kind.
Unfortunately, that's exactly what happened with us and Bernie Sanders.
I know.
So we have to own that part.
Be careful with this stuff.
Yeah, we made Bernie Sanders president, but in that space, I am convinced that if Kamala wins, she's not going to have the House and the Senate. Right? I mean, nobody thinks.
Well, I mean, that was part of the numbers that the Democrats have been looking over the last few days, is that it's not looking as bleak in the Senate or the House as they had originally thought, but that there was it
looks better without
the Democratic
Biden.
Candidate was running 15 points ahead of Joe Biden in the state. So like in Arizona or Pennsylvania, the Democratic candidate is running well ahead of Joe Biden. Does she, let's say she overperforms that by 5% and cuts it down to a 10% margin? I think that, I mean, as close as both the House and the Senate are, that could be vital in, giving her,
Yeah.
And no one's going to win like a landslide. You're not going to see a 60 seat, Senate going to the Democrats or the Republicans, unless, Kamala just absolutely shits the bed the rest of the way. And let's be fair, she has not won the nomination yet. She is very much in pole position.
Yeah, but somebody else could come out. But so here's another amazing statistic that nobody's talking about. In 2022, the last election that we have numbers for, 70% of American women were registered to vote. That is a mind-boggling statistic. And
you got to wonder what the impact of all these states having abortion,
absolutely,
abortion ballot initiatives and things like that on the ballot will do for turnout, and how it will it flip a few seats? I think it will. This is a it's a tactic. People have been using ballot initiatives to drive votes.
But it's not a tactic. I mean, this is a fight for freedom.
For
economy.
It still is a tactic, though, in that
yes,
it drives people to the polls, and you want the voters that you want to show up to the polls. It's like in 2004 when Bush was running for re-election. A bunch of Republican states in a era that was a little less friendly to LGBTQ rights had DOMA on a lot of states. Ballots. Yeah, and it drove Republican voters, and enough to give
DOMA, meaning the Defense of Marriage Act.
Yeah, giving George Bush a
written by Bob Barr.
Yeah, former Libertarian Party presidential candidate.
Right. Who I can't believe they haven't invited him back yet.
I'm surprised he hasn't come back yet.
Exactly. But
him and Wayne Allen Root.
We're going to get back to that shit show after we come around this one. So I think Kamala's going to have to answer questions the entire way through. I think the Republican House will launch an investigation as to who knew what when. Was there a conspiracy to conceal the president's infirmary sickness? And
we're gonna have to replace Dan on the show. He's having trouble speaking.
Exactly. I'm gonna have to drop out from the Democratic nomination.
Oh no, he's Mitch McConnelling. Oh shit. Worse than I thought.
So I think though that she's got such a better chance than Biden.
Yeah.
I think if they do another debate, it'll be interesting to see if they do a debate.
Oh, because Trump already said that he wants the next debate to be on Fox News rather than ABC, which is the September debate is supposed to be on ABC. He wants. I do think that he worries because, let's face it, Kamala was a prosecutor, so she knows how to handle herself. Now,
we did see her get taken apart.
She did get roasted by Tulsi Gabbard.
That's exactly where I was going to go too.
Yeah, I mean, she walked right into that one, and Gabbard really did apply the coup de grace because going into that debate, Kamala was the flavor of the week. I mean,
Yeah,
it was really early in the 2020 cycle, but she was the flavor of the week, and she was polling higher,
yeah,
polling very high at that point. And with that debate, she got roasted. So she has some vulnerabilities when it comes to her past as being a prosecutor.
right. I mean, and
Um,
let's just hit it once more. She threw people in jail. She destroyed families by prosecuting people for cannabis when
yep,
she admitted to smoking herself.
yep. There's going to be talk. I'm sure Trump is going to say this on stage about her relationship with former uh, mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown, early in her political career, um, which, I don't care who's sleeping with who.
Right.
But
Oh, right. I forgot
that's,
about that part.
yeah.
But
But, there are things that she can, I hate to say legitimately be attacked for, but there are things that she can be attacked for that I'm sure Donald Trump will be doing as we go along. But it was interesting. We had the RNC this last week, which we were wearing our ear tampons um, as fans of Donald Trump at the Republican National Committee. When they were not on Grinder, they were wearing ear tampons on their ears to emulate the God King. And uh, the RNC, his speech on Thursday night could have gone a long way to really cementing himself
yeah,
as a favorite, regardless of
yeah,
who the Democrat is or whether Joe Biden stayed in. That would have really cemented his position as the front runner. If he had given a semi-normal speech, now I don't expect him to ever get a semi-normal speech, but had he given a fairly normal political speech, he could have cemented himself. But then he gave like a 90-minute diatribe of you know uh, basically still questioning the integrity of the 2020 election, still trying to prosecute that, and just going off the rails on a lot of different things. I mean, I saw some highlights of it, and I just kept thinking that this convention could have been an email. Like it was just stop this thing. And but yeah, I think Trump. The reason why I still say that, despite any advantages Trump may have had, Trump is still Trump, and Trump can still drive away voters with his stupidity between
his
now and November.
stupidity, except that, we live in this world. Uh, you know, I think one of my favorite things I read this week was a post that I made, and I'm going to go back and review it. Let's see, where is it? Wow, I post way too much. All right. Democracy has become an arms race to acquire votes. And the problem is that we don't realize how easily so many people are manipulated.
Oh yeah,
And there's a question that I think I've asked on this show before, which is, do you think that you're smart?
I know I'm not.
Do stupid people know that they're stupid?
Yes, I know
And
I'm stupid.
if stupid people don't know that they're stupid, how do we know that we're smart? And the answer is, well, so first of all, smart people don't answer that question, right? They're like, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Stupid people say, well, I know that I'm smart because I got a college degree, or I know that I'm smart because I drive a Camaro, or something like that.
Trump told me so.
Exactly. So here we are, the situation of these people who have no critical thinking. They are lost in a sea of opinion. And the problem is that they're willing to float with the tide. And if the tide is rolling in Republicans, if the tide is rolling in Biden, that's where they're going to go.
Yeah.
And if you're lost in the ocean, sometimes that's what you're looking for. You're like, just get me to shore. I don't care what's going to happen. And the fact is that if you are, I don't want to say a moron, if you are a person who's not great at taking care of themselves, Republican is actually the place you want to vote, because the Republican plan is going to control every aspect of your life. Sadly, the Democratic plan is freer. You have more responsibility over your own body. Now, of course, the best of all is Chase Oliver, who believes that you own yourself. And let's caveat all of that in there. People who are unhappy with what's happening right now, make a $25 donation at votechaseoliver.com, because that puts Chase's ideas in front of other people. And you know what? I don't think he's going to win. I do think that he's got a puncher's chance. I think they're running a smart campaign. But what I do know is that the more people that get touched by that campaign, the better the country is going to be. So we spent a lot of time talking here about, and then let's talk about the worst candidate very briefly, who I saw and met out at Freedom Fest. Randall Terry.
Oh, Jesus.
That guy is unbelievable. I can't imagine, like Trump invokes religion occasionally, but he doesn't really think that he's got a message from God to do this and do that.
No,
Randall Terry really does. And it's a shame, because they masquerade under the name of Constitution Party. And I've been thinking recently, which is worse? Which is a worse representative? The LNC calling themselves libertarians, or Randall Terry being the head of something that calls itself the Constitution Party?
I mean, the Constitution Party has not been much of a factor in a while. I mean, their previous candidate was Don Blankenship, Don Blankenship is essentially a swear word in West Virginia.
Right. The only thing that worked in favor of the fact is that everybody who blanked the ballot ended up voting for him. So,
but I mean,
and before that, it was Darrell Castle for forever.
Yeah, I used to, just check out the Constitution Party of West Virginia's meetings, because they're having them online during the pandemic and everything. Literally, there were just Bible study with a couple of political things here and there, but I don't know what happened to that party. I've never been like really into the Constitution Party, but they've gotten really weird.
It's funny because I don't know why the idiots who took over our party, actually I do, why didn't they go to the Constitution Party? They would be really happy there.
Well, no, they don't, because the Constitution Party has no ballot access, very little ballot access, and no power.
That's exactly it. The Constitution Party is no threat.
Nothing to sell to another party.
Exactly. So if they were in it for politics, they would have gone to the Constitution Party, but they're in it for power. And maybe this is a nice segue to how batshit crazy things have gotten in the quest for power.
My God. Yeah. So the Libertarian Party now is entered into a
joint
financial agreement with the
a joint fundraising committee, which is nowhere near as much fun as it sounds. It has nothing to do with cannabis. I was disappointed to point out. The joint fundraising has nothing to do with joints. It's about
the House joint subcommittee meeting. Like those are.
It's about giving money to Robert Kennedy.
A lot of money, and here's the thing.
Right.
If they're successful in giving a lot of money to Robert Kennedy, they're going to be able to take a lot of money as well. And I get that. The FEC filing for the Libertarian Party came out, and they owe $290,000 at least for the convention. All the overtime and all that stuff. I don't even know if that's factored.
I don't think it is.
And that's part of the thing of having a convention in Washington, D.C. It's expensive. It's really expensive, and it's a union mandate. So
right. So that overtime ended up being Sunday overtime after 6 p.m. It was ended up being like quadruple time,
Yeah,
which is just crazy. But
absolutely.
here's
But
the
they're going
other
to get
thing
the
about
money,
it.
but they're going to bleed it. They're going to bleed that money. They're going to pay it to the executive director, who is Angela McArdle, the
Friends and
baby
family.
daddy,
Yep.
and then Michael Heiss, who also is involved
Right.
now.
Who's just going to get paid
That
for the
money is
contract.
going to go to their coffers.
But
Mark my words.
here's the thing about it. I agree with you 100%. But here's the other thing about it. Those guys, right? Those who do not know history are doomed to repeat it. Those
Or do
guys don't
American foreign
understand
policy.
the 4-year cycle of Libertarian Party fundraising, which is this is their best year, and next year is going to be their worst. And we're looking at next year being under $500,000, which would be insane.
I wrote this on, I believe, Fakertarians. I said that the next Libertarian Party headquarters is going to be a completely full porta-john at the intersection of Fuck Around Boulevard and Finding Out.
The next convention is already scheduled for a Denny's in Grand Rapids. They have a room in the back.
They're going to do it at 8 Mile in Detroit.
They're going to do the catering. Yeah, it's really terrible. And so then the other thing though that's interesting about it is the secretary of the party,
the heel turn, well, the baby face turn of the secretary.
She who shall not be named. But I will say, you can't spell chaos without CAH.
Exactly.
She is fighting against this, but also put Chase Oliver on the ballot in Colorado against the wishes of both the state party of Colorado and the chair of the LNC.
So Hannah Goodman, who's the state party chair of the Colorado LP, she was candidate for vice chair.
Yep.
And got up on stage at the Libertarian National Convention and just gave a speech that, I mean, it could have been written for Trump. I mean, it was just this brash. I mean, people were asking me about her before the election. I say that she had the unearned confidence of Angela McArdle and the batshit insanity of Karen Ann Harlows. Like that was, just wrapped up into one package.
Yeah.
I mean, Angela McArdle is delusional. Like she's taken credit for Julian Assange being released. She is taking some kind of credit for the commitment to have a libertarian in Donald Trump's cabinet.
She's taking credit for
Joe Biden dropping out. Biden dropping out. In fact, I posted this before. I like 10 minutes after the announcement came out. I put on Fakertarians a fake post from, the pink lady of North Korea, the news lady.
Yep.
It was just like all praise to Angela McArdle for using her brilliant political machinations to get Joe Biden to drop out. All good things must flow through her. It was a joke, but within 15 minutes, there was a post on X where batshit crazy McArdle is taking credit for, or at least she said the Libertarian Party at this point. She didn't take personal credit, although I'm sure that's coming.
I don't think she can distinguish between the party and herself.
Oh yeah, she's the party. Like if you watch,
and honestly, she's right.
Yeah, I mean she is. She's the executive director and the chair.
I kind of want to call out all the people who voted for this thing with Kennedy.
Yeah.
Which is just terrible. But I'm just going to call out the guy that I really dislike the most, which is Pat Ford.
Yeah.
I hate that. I mean, just a backstabber, star fucker who would do absolutely anything for 2 minutes of fame. So
I mean, he went to Mises just because he knew that was where the party was going.
Yeah.
And he wanted to have more power, whether it's for his broadcast empire that he has or what.
I mean, if you, right, it's completely insane that the representative from Rhode Island would be the District 8, the Region 8 rep. I don't know what the regions are anymore, but it's ridiculous.
It is.
Anyway, so the LNC is just gone to hell in a handbasket. And this
Yeah.
last batch, and we should probably explain the mechanics of why this is happening, which is if you want to donate to a presidential candidate, the maximum that you can give them is $3,300. If you want to donate to a political party, the maximum that you can give it is, I believe, $4,100, $300. However, in order to be a political party, a real political party that can take donations that big, you got to do a lot of shit. Libertarians have done them.
And it's very calculated, I think, from their perspective, that this is a small party that is going to be giving to a third party who's going to be third place in this next election by a mile.
Yep.
They're going to funnel him a bunch of money. And they're going to, I think the people that are doing it that are going to benefit off of the money that comes in will be long gone before the FEC cares about this. And I don't think the FEC really is going to care all that much about it.
Probably not. I do think that, some libertarians who are complaining about it will care a little bit. It'll be very interesting to see what happens with the Judicial Committee. I don't know.
Who was on did the Judicial Committee hold over from this last?
I don't,
because I don't think they got
know.
to.
The only guy. Well, so first of all, the only reason why I know who's on the Judicial Committee is because of the website, and the website hasn't been updated in a long time.
Yeah,
but maybe it's right. It says that Mark Montoni is on it. I have no idea which way Mark would go on something like that.
No,
Mark's
been relatively Mises friendly.
He's been Mises friendly because he's anti-Sarwark. But there was a point in time at which Mark was a good dude and did some good things. And
he's always been a dick to me. So,
all right, fair enough.
I'm not a big fan of Mark Montoni by any stretch of the imagination.
I had drinks with him. I don't remember at the 50th Libertarian Party celebration.
Okay.
And it was just me, him, Joe Jorgensen, and very reasonable guy to hang out with. I've heard people say that, the Mount Rushmore of Virginia Libertarian Party is Jim Lark, Bill Redpath, Steve Dosbach, and Mark Montoni.
I could agree with that. I mean, Mark Montoni was the Secretary of the State for like a couple decades. I mean, he was there for a long time in the State Central Committee in Virginia.
All right, so I appreciate Sean telling us that it is the Judicial Committee that was elected in Reno.
I'm very hopeful about that.
Well, I don't know though, because look how many Mises people stepped away.
But here's the thing: will they abide by the Judicial Committee?
Yeah.
We've seen where the Judicial Committee, has been used as a weapon by Mises, and it's been ignored when it rules against Mises. So,
I mean, it's
I don't have much hope.
I don't know. I mean, I think that they would not ignore the Judicial Committee while they're in the process of being sued to remove.
Again, I think they're at this point they're grasping for dollars, getting as much out of this. They're going to try and extract as much out of this between now and November 5th,
right,
and then bail the fuck out because they know that next year is going to be nothing, and they're going to leave. It's a game of musical chairs, but there's going to be a lot of chairs that they just leave. And, the party stalwarts that continue to stay because they have this idea of a sunk life fallacy, will come back, and they really just got the empty husk of a party. Like, I don't see
right
this party coming back I mean, it's going to be a struggle for them to come up with a coherent strategy for 2028.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's pretty freaky. I agree with that. I don't know that they're going to step away. I mean, I think they'll step away when they've wrung every penny that they can out of it.
Well,
But
I think they don't think that they're going to get much beyond November 5th. I think that's when you're going to start
yeah, I mean,
seeing them
they could.
fail.
There's some very expensive machinery. Well, at least when I left, there was some very expensive machinery in LP Party headquarters. It wouldn't shock me if they move that machinery somewhere else or it's been lost. There's been
Oh,
no audit of what's happening in the building. In fact,
well,
I should ask Redpath to do that.
yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. The people were hyping up the fact that Bill Redpath and Mark Rutherford got elected in Reno.
Right.
It didn't change anything. It can't change anything. They just don't have the number of votes.
They don't
Even
have
with some of the defections. I mean, Stephen Nicola has been making, moves to leave the Mises orbit, but he comes back. Like, I don't trust anybody that really isn't Bill Redpath or Mark Rutherford.
right. Well, and here's another example of just how stupid they are, though, because the that mailing machine, that's a machine that prints cash. Okay, direct mail works. It brings in money.
I thought that they had taken everything out of the top of the building.
This is on the second
basement
floor. Oh, you're saying they moved it into the basement? Maybe
because they're trying to rent out.
I bet you somebody took that home and they're running direct mail with the LP's stuff and making money.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how big the machine is, but yeah,
it's big, but it's not enormous. It's like 4 feet long. Comes with some special software, but it stamps, addresses envelope, folds papers, puts them into the envelope, all that stuff. So I mean, it's a real direct mail machine.
Much mail from the LP?
I get a lot of personal mail from people. No,
Yeah.
but I mean, I made sure that I was not mailable.
No, there you go. Okay.
There is a do not mail flag. I don't know if they're honoring it or not, but when I left, right, I was a little bitter, and so I put myself on the do not email and do not mail, and pulled my name off of the lifetime member page.
Yeah, I got mine off the lifetime member page as well. Plausible deniability.
Yep.
But that's somebody was asking about why are the lifetime membership numbers never going down? Those are everything else is going down, but lifetime membership's what it is. It's lifetime.
Yep.
You can check out anytime you like. You just can never leave.
Right. We don't even remove people for. We don't even remove people for death. So that's beyond lifetime. They should have addressed it as beyond lifetime membership. Total membership. Larry Sharp, one of the things that he does to be such an effective speaker is that he starts off most speeches with a question. And he asked, in the history of the world, who is the longest ruling head of state? And I can remember I guessed Queen Victoria, and other people guessed other things. He said, nope, you're all wrong, because Kim Il-jung, the previous dear leader, appointed himself head of Korea till the end of time.
Well, there you go. I mean,
so that infinite
not bad.
rule, it's not bad.
I mean, it's good to be the king.
It is.
Didn't stop him from dying,
So,
but,
yeah, Sean, I'm going to say that's a bookmaking error more than anything else. But also, what was the deal? I didn't really follow this part, but like they were accepting donations without getting people to sign the NAP?
Yeah. Apparently, something wrong with I guess the website didn't require the NAP check off.
So dumb. So
Amateur
dumb. When you
amateur hour.
yeah, you consider the talent that was assembled to run digital things there.
In the space of time that this happened, like, you know, just before Reno happens, you have, let's say, the 5 months before Reno happens, you've got Tara DeSisto as membership director. You've got
Yep.
you or fundraising director. You've got Tyler Harris as the executive director. You've got Chris Clements in doing membership. Michelle McCutcheon doing it.
Becca.
Kara Schultz doing trainings.
Becca Congdon.
Becca Congdon, yeah. You had such a great group of people there to run a party.
I hired them all. I know this.
Yes. And
yeah, I didn't hire
within
Tara.
the space of 6 months, like July after the Reno convention, almost all of them are gone. Tara list just before
right
the convention, but Chris Clemens, Tyler, Michelle McCutcheon, Kara Schultz, all these people just leave
right
because of the toxic environment that's there. And what have they been replaced with? Austin Paget, who's the baby daddy of the chair and executive director, now is the chair of the party,
Yep.
which is a huge conflict of interest for me.
It's insane.
Michael Heiss, the former head of the Mises Caucus, is now something, a contractor of some sort.
Right, because the Mises Caucus stopped making money.
Yeah.
And so he moved to the LP.
Well, he was supposed to be, it was supposed to be Michael Rectenwald running for president. He was supposed to be the campaign manager making the money off of that, and that dried up. And then he moved to the LPHQ and is now
but
one of those people that stands to benefit off of this.
Here's the thing that comes out of it. I had this epiphany yesterday too. All that shit, we blew it because we couldn't beat Angela in an election when she did everything wrong. Because, and this is the lesson that I want libertarians to take home, we suck at elections. We suck at elections. Own that piece of it, right? If like a Republican or a Democrat or a real campaign strategist had been doing anything, we would have been sending out mailers talking about everything that Angela did wrong. I mean, just talking about the fact that she's paying her baby daddy $85,000 a year with, our money, with the members' money to do nothing.
That was the thing that
nobody knew anything about it.
Yeah, that was the thing that blew my mind watching the candidate speeches for chair, in that no one brought that up.
Yeah.
Ken brought up the fact that she had not logged into Civi CRM, which, that's kind of concerning as well.
Yeah, that's a little thing.
I mean, that's a little thing, but like the headline, they were burying the lead.
Yeah.
The lead is she's stealing money, LP resources to her own bank account. Yeah, they can say it's her baby daddy's account, but she's benefiting off of that. That is a huge conflict of interest, and she's the executive director.
And how did nobody with means, right? I mean, honestly, if I thought about it, and if I cared about it, I could have paid for a postcard to go to all the delegates, right? I'm a lifetime member. They have to give me the snail mail address of all the delegates if I want to. Yeah. Sean was a candidate for secretary. He probably got that list of all the people as well. And totally could have paid to send a pretty convincing postcard that I think would have cost her the election if any of us knew anything about winning an election. But here's the problem. We don't think elections should do anything because, we recognize the failure of democracy. We don't think that people are going to be unethical because we believe in a system that requires ethical people. And that's where, it really is broken. If you ask me, would I want a system where everybody had liberty, but 60% of the people were unethical, or where 80% of the people were ethical, but we had an authoritarian regime? I think I'd have to say I need that safety. I don't need a system where might makes right, because that's worse. So how do we fight something like that? How do we, as liberty lovers, work against a system where we are the perpetual chumps, the people who always get taken advantage of? And the only thing I can think of, go ahead.
Well, I think one of the things that I tried to point out to a lot of people before everything went down was you're playing a game against people who are more than happy to violate the rules of that game.
Right.
And politics is a bloody game. And I know that people are like, well, we don't want to become like them but if you're playing by the rules and they're willing to go outside the rules to win it, you're playing by a massive disadvantage. So you got to come up with a plan. I think one of the failings that we had, or that anti-Mises people had at the Libertarian National Convention, was there was no organization. There was not, say what you want about the Mises Caucus. They had a list.
Yeah.
And it was just the same thing that happened with the at-large vote. There was no organization. There was 5 candidates.
We sent around an at-large list that was circulated because Jeff Lyons was running the floor. Fucking 10 candidates on it.
10 candidates
for 5 spots. That's
ridiculous. Pick 5.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, we could have drawn the line. And and I'm sorry to Heidi, who's on here, who she was one of the candidates. If I'd drawn the line, with the top 5, I don't know who put her on or what the order was, she would have been under that. But I guarantee you that Heidi would say, you know what? If we'd won all 5 at-large seats, that would have been okay with her, even if she wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
But instead, we did it all.
I don't know. I don't know if I want like my friends to be on the Libertarian National Committee. I did my stint.
Yeah.
Still paying off credit cards. It's just no. It's not.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about it either. Here's the thing, right? There's this meme going around now. Lots of people have posted. I think you posted it too, Dave. It said, "Boy, the writers are really pulling out all the stops in the last season of the United States."
And we're just a little bit plot of the entire show.
So it feels like that. So let's talk about that part of it. Okay. Here's your choice. The country splits. And let's say we're going to split into 3 states. Okay. There's New England, which we'll still call itself New England, but it's going to include New York and New Jersey.
Why would you want New Jersey?
New Jersey's, huh? Yeah, I mean, New Jersey's terrible, but we want to have hockey teams, so we got to have the Devils.
Yeah, but I mean the Devils. Like, do you need the Devils?
Dude, Patrick Sharp is my god. I know he didn't only play with New Jersey, but I'll always think of him as a Devil. And who was their goalie? Hextall? No.
Martin Brodeur.
Yeah, Hextall's Pittsburgh. Philly. Pennsylvania's all the same.
He was Pittsburgh's GM, I think, or is Pittsburgh's GM, something like that.
Right. So we do that. We do Redneck South, which is essentially all the states of the Confederacy.
Toss in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Pennsyltucky.
Yeah. Southern Ohio. Right. Ohio, except for Cleveland. And some other states. And then
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah. Then California, the West Coast, and
Mountain West.
Yeah. Except that, Mountain West, what are you going to do with Idaho? Right. Idaho is like.
Sell it to Canada.
Well, right. It's interesting because Idaho had previously been a state filled with neo-Nazis. and I think we should talk about the Nazis in Nashville as well.
Ugh.
But lots of Californians are moving there. The people in Idaho are very unhappy about it.
Oh yeah, I mean I've been hearing that for years. That the complaint. I mean it's the same thing that you hear from
New
Texans
Hampshire.
talking about Californians moving to Texas. You're gonna bring your liberal policies with you.
Yep. And New Hampshire, people from Massachusetts moving to New Hampshire.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I mean
Maybe just
I don't know that any one of those is that great of an option. And you know I've been on here talking about you don't want to get into a civil war
no, right. We talked about
because
that.
you know and likely there would be some kind of breakage that would require some kind of conflict if you break the states into it. Because again, it's not so much north versus south and east versus west. There is the coasts that have massive cities that are very liberal.
Yep.
And then you've got pretty much everything in between that is fairly conservative. But you've got some cities sprinkled in and out throughout the country that are fairly left, fairly progressive. That
Sure.
I mean, there's no clean break between any of these locations.
No, I mean Texas, Houston, and Dallas, and Austin are very progressive cities.
Yeah.
San Antonio's getting there.
Yeah.
It's all the rest of the state that's red. I mean, here's the thing, right? The only thing that really works for us is a depowered government.
Yeah.
Okay. Why can't anybody else see this except for libertarians? Why do Republicans who get furious about what Democrats do when they're in charge, why do they support a more powerful government? Why do Democrats who can't stand that Republicans are, outlawing abortion, why don't they support a smaller government?
Well, I mean, I think I've said this on the show many times. Oh, I think AJ's back. Let's see if she works this time. No.
I want to know what it was that we said that was so awesome that AJ wanted to come back in and try all
I
that
said
stuff.
I missed AJ in our chat.
A is for attitude. What is J for?
Jax.
Yeah,
It's Apple. So. A is for Apple. J is for Jax.
Cinnamon toasty Apple Jacks.
Yummy.
You need a good breakfast. That's a fact. Started off with Apple Jacks.
I don't know what's going on with AJ's router. Wi-Fi, whatever.
No, I don't know.
I was thinking maybe it's a little bit later there in Colorado and not everybody's playing Minecraft today. But
yeah, maybe you can come in on phone, AJ.
Yeah. Cell phone might work better.
Yeah.
But
in that space, let's finish this part before we go on to the quiz.
Yeah.
These things are all stuck together. The Democrats, right? We're talking about. So I will say, Democrats played it perfectly in terms of timing. Nobody's going to talk about the assassination anymore. All they're going to talk about,
and right in the middle of Trump's post-convention ballots.
Right, exactly.
Suck the air right out of it.
Exactly. And so they've got 2 weeks of the Olympics too.
Yeah.
Where everybody gets to speculate, blah blah blah, and it's going to build up to a fever pitch crescendo when Kamala is going to announce. Well, first of all, she's going to win. They're going to have some rumors that somebody's going to challenge her, but then she's going to win.
Yeah.
And then she's going to win, and then she's going to announce George Clooney as her running mate.
I mean, I doubt it.
I don't think it's impossible.
They talked about Oprah and all that stuff. So Oprah still has to atone for Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil.
Oprah already runs the country.
This is true. But I mean, I don't think that you're going to be able to. There isn't going to be and I know people within libertarian circles talk about the idea of a national divorce. There is no clean national divorce. You're not going to have a Czechoslovakia, the velvet divorce. There's no clean way to do it. One, we're $35 trillion in debt. What do you do with that?
Right.
Do states have to buy themselves out of The debt? Do they take on a percentage of
Well,
population? Is your debt as you leave? There's lots of things. Then you're talking about military, the
right.
bases, the equipment, who gets what. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of things that just the idea of a national divorce being a you know
Easy to
yeah
say.
easy
But
thing for us to go through peacefully without any problems. That's just folly. Like
well,
there's
the first step of it, the first step of a national divorce is
who
to
gets
get
the
rid of
kid?
the idea of federalism.
No, yeah,
So you could do the other stuff. You could keep the army if you limited the federal government to the powers enumerated in the Constitution. You solve a lot of the problems.
you do. I do have some questions because I mean, like abortion was never in the Constitution. Are you going to keep abortion? Are you going to keep people's rights?
Here's here's the interesting
What
question.
about the protection?
I mean, here's the interesting question about it. I mean, I think that this election is going to show us what's going to really happen, and where the country really is on the abortion issue.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
So
hope so.
I hope so too.
But what
70%
about
of women being
trans
registered
care
to
and
vote.
some of these other things that they're really targeting as well? I don't know
I mean,
where that
here's
goes.
the sole purpose of the federal government should be to defend the rights of people against the state governments. That's the sole legitimate purpose. And in many ways, that's what it was founded for, right? The Bill of Rights doesn't say you have the right to bear arms. It doesn't say that you have the right to free speech. It says Congress shall make no laws.
Yeah,
Your rights shall not be infringed. But your rights, you already had them already. And so the purpose, and then we go to 1833, where we get to incorporation, where we start signing that the Bill of Rights applies to state governments as well. And in fact, the federal government enforces those rights, protects those rights against the state governments.
yeah,
That part works great. We probably hit the height of it in Brown versus the Board of Education, right? When taxpayer money is being collected from black people, but black children aren't allowed to go to those schools. That's just broken. Now, is there a better solution than what the government came up with? The government said, "You made the rules. We're going to make them fair." You could you can make different rules, but nobody ever wanted to do that.
yeah.
Nobody ever wanted to say, "Well, let's do homeschooling. Let's do whatever." Right in the 50s, nobody's talking about that shit or send all our kids to private schools or anything like that. Instead, right, this one a public school system that was segregated. That's not right. Federal government stopped that.
Yeah.
I think that's very reasonable. I'm going to piss off a lot of libertarians by saying that, but
I for where government comes into the equation when it comes to protecting people's abilities and equal access to stuff, I don't
right,
have a problem. And AJ's right. The medical care should never be controlled by the government. The decision making ability for people to seek the medical care that they want should never be controlled by the federal government.
yeah,
Now,
and let's talk about all these complete liars out there who say that they disagree with Chase's stance on uh, on
transgender care.
transgender care,
Mhm.
especially for minors. There is no way that you can claim to be a libertarian and not want to protect the right of a family to make their own medical decisions. And this is a medical decision.
It is.
Clear, simple. And it's true, but they really don't like me, AJ. But um,
Fuck 'em.
the but circling around to this thing, the idea that the libertarian answer is anything other than families should make their own decisions is crazy.
Yeah.
Because there are so many things that we disagree upon. And we say, oh, the world is better if we do this, if we make a law that makes this illegal.
But this was
And
telegraphed.
yeah, no,
I mean, when the abortion plan got removed, because the abortion plan was people have various opinions, and we're not going to make a decision on your opinions, but we don't believe that the government should be involved in this issue, and that's what we think. Like yeah,
yeah,
abortion should have people should have access to abortion if that is their decision with their doctor. If they think that is what the wise thing to do. Government shouldn't pay for it. Government should not abolish it or prevent you from
right,
seeking that care.
right. And fundamentally, right. Yeah, no, I agree with Sean there. They were going to go after Lars for being a pornographer. They're going to go after Tremont for being a cop. Um,
Yeah.
Although, any libertarian who can complain about somebody who has made money as a pornographer, and let's differentiate between
Being a
pornography.
pornographer or just having like setting up that adult friend finder website.
Yeah, I mean, right. It was a website where people could post adult pictures. So if you believe that adult pictures are pornography, which I think that's what the word covers, then that's fine.
Okay, yeah, well, that's
But
fine. I
exploitation,
never went on there, so I didn't know it. I've heard of
exploitation
it
is
before.
not pornography. Uh, I may have investigated it. But exploitation,
I'm just reading
violence,
it for the articles.
all these other things, exactly. That's not pornography. That's violence.
Yeah.
It's fraud.
Yeah.
All that other stuff, those things that they're pushing against, those are insane. And
Well, that's a
AJ
good
brings an
point,
excellent
AJ.
point. IVF,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, that's crazy that there are some Republicans who are doubling down on that shit now.
And there's one, I can't remember what his name is, but he looks like Wish.com Henry Rollins. It's really frightening. There's a picture of him speaking, and it looks like it's like Henry Rollins if he had a meth problem.
Black flag.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's we live in this age of medical miracles. I don't know why the pro-life
That's
crowd,
his name, Rosedale.
why the pro-life crowd is possibly against IVF.
It's because it creates an embryo that may not be used, and then it gets thrown away. And of course, their whole zero-sum game position is that at the moment that the embryo was created, that is life, and that must be bullshit. So when to get IVF to work, you have to fertilize a number of embryos, because maybe one, and sometimes there's like 5 that attach, like it's kind of a roulette type thing.
Yep.
5 may attach, and you may have quintuplets, but you have to fertilize a number of eggs just to get one to attach.
Right. Well, wait, isn't IVF? The IV is in vitro.
In vitro, so they egg and sperm are combined outside the womb.
Right.
And then implanted into the womb of the
after. Oh, you're saying that even after life has started, they don't all attach to the womb.
Yeah. So some may come out, but they're if one attaches to the womb, that's the ideal situation. A lot of times it's like 2 or 3, or maybe even more. Remember that lady who had 8 kids or some shit like that?
Octomom.
Octomom. I like that. To me, okay, so what makes, like, they try to implant a number of eggs, and half of them come out, are ejected from the body. That's okay, but they want all of those eggs to be implanted in. Or the first time you get lucky and one implants, but you've got a bunch left over that could be implanted the next month.
Yeah.
What do you do with those?
There probably will be a day when they are able to do this more efficiently. And that day is not today.
No.
And that's not a good reason to deny people who want children. I mean, here's the interesting thing, right? You and I our families don't have children. So I'm guessing, I don't want to assume anything for you guys. Let me just speak about my family. But neither of us really wanted children. It wasn't that we were opposed to it, but we said, you know what? My understanding is that it's a lot of work and somebody should really want to have children. And I've heard all the arguments that, it's the greatest job you'll ever have and all that other stuff. As for me, as a school teacher, I'd spent a lot of time around kids and I get that magical part of it. We just didn't want that.
Yeah.
But there's some people that's all they want. They're so kid crazy that's what they want to do.
But that's
they
their
shouldn't
life.
be denied. Exactly. Yeah. They shouldn't be denied that.
And corollary that you shouldn't enforce that view on others.
Yeah. I think that number is out there, AJ. I saw something that said something like 86,000 women have treatment. Yeah, exactly.
And if Trump wins in this election, the FDA all of a sudden bans mifepristone, says that it's unsafe. I mean, the number of people traveling for treatment were going to go way higher. And we're not talking just traveling from Texas to Kansas or wherever the abortion remains legal. We're talking traveling to Mexico or traveling to Canada because it's, his allies are going to push for a total abortion ban throughout the United States. So traveling is going to, it's going to be a lot easier to control because to travel even to Canada now, you need to have a passport card. You need to have a passport card to go to Mexico. So there is ways to control this travel. So what other things are they going to plan to do to control women traveling while pregnant?
Women traveling and then, smuggling mifepristone is going to be a big deal.
Oh yeah,
because
I'd rather the border,
but also
be the source of mifepristone versus fentanyl. But
mifepristone is used for other things, right?
Yeah.
And am I crazy, or is it used in birth control?
Well, I mean, that's another thing that they'll start attacking is birth control because, again, it's about making people have children. There's this weird...
Right. It's about turning women into breeders.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't understand it. We've got enough unwanted children in the United States as is. Our foster care system in West Virginia is overwhelmed because we don't have enough foster parents. And one of the things that I'm okay with the state funding is taking care of foster care kids because they're in the state system. So, and we don't have enough funding for foster care kids in the state of West Virginia.
Right.
I mean, it's absolutely, yeah. I mean, AJ, I'm hopeful that this move by Biden dropping out, whether it's Harris or somebody else emerges from the Democratic pile, it doesn't matter who I vote for here in West Virginia, but I will be happy to suffer through a Democrat presidency for another 4 years to get beyond the Donald Trump threat. But let's also not be naive enough to think that 4 years from now, they're not going to find somebody just as odious, whether it's a Ron DeSantis or another member of the Trump family, to run and, try and get the Project 2025 over. I know we're put it right here. The Blue Dog Design, there are shirts on there that AJ has made that says, never vote Republican again. I'd be very hard pressed, especially on the national level, to vote for any of these guys that have spent the last 4 years just telling us how much they love Donald Trump, and are A-okay with, either saying, they're good with Project 25 or gaslighting us and saying, there's no Project 2025. Like, where is that at? It's not here. It's there. Donald Trump's even talked about it. Um,
Yeah.
I do think it'll be all female ticket. I mean, Gretchen Whitmer.
No way. I
Yeah, I mean,
just can't see that. The Democrats have shown themselves to be misogynistic, in many ways, even more misogynistic than the Republican Party. The Republican Party hates
yeah, exactly.
independent women, but the Republican Party loves women who toe the party line. Whereas Democrats seem to just not get in the party line when a woman is on the ticket. I mean, Hillary lost because women didn't come out and vote for her.
Here's an interesting name that was offered up for vice president that would be an interesting play. Mitt Romney as a unity ticket.
That would be pretty weird.
It would be very weird, absolutely weird, but it brings in the never Trump Republicans, which I don't think the never Trump Republicans will ever hold their nose to vote for Donald Trump, no matter who the Democrats nominate. But as a national unity ticket, might be an interesting sell. So
I like it.
Or Larry Hogan, the former Maryland governor, Republican. Moderate Republican, that might be an interesting play. I just don't. I don't know that the Democrats will go for it, even make that choice, because so much in American politics nowadays just doesn't make sense. That when the most obvious path forward doesn't get chosen, the most difficult path forward is chosen. Like not having anybody run against Joe Biden in the primaries. That was just absolutely dumb on their outside of that Dean guy that
right.
Congressman
and
Marianne Williamson.
Exactly.
Which, I love Orban.
She got the nomination.
I mean, I love Orban, but I'm not going to put her as the nominee and having control of the nuclear weapons. Although she wouldn't use them,
Yep.
That may be good. All right, you ready for the quiz?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this quiz, man. All right, remember this was the quiz for July 18th, 2024. So anything that's happened Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are not on this quiz. So Joe Biden dropping out is not on the quiz, or there may be a question about would he drop out, but we'll check it out. All righty. Let's see. Context clues. We got Mail,
Elon Musk,
and Joe Biden.
Yep.
Maybe something about Joe Biden getting COVID. And
probably.
Elon Musk. I saw a funny meme of Elon Musk wearing a cowboy hat. I guess he had posted on X, and somebody said, "Definitely looks like because he's moving to Texas." Said definitely looks like a guy who would get his salsa from New York City. All right, question number 1. Former President Donald Trump announced his running mate this week after surviving an assassination attempt. Who did Trump select as his vice presidential pick? He is the original couch surfer. Although that story is
he's
probably not accurate.
The guy who once compared Donald Trump to Hitler.
Yeah.
Said that he really disliked him, and it's J.D. Vance.
Yeah. Trump
he
Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Honestly, J.D. Vance is a politician. He is.
Yeah.
He will say anything.
Yep.
To get elected, depending on who he's talking to. But yeah, he has been very vocal in his support for Project 2025. There's Trump with his tampon on his ear. But yeah, he's been a very vocal supporter of Project 2025. Definitely wants to rain holy hell on the American people. So, boo, J.D. Vance. Question number 2. Elon Musk says he's moving 2 of his companies, SpaceX and X, formerly known as Twitter, or as I call it, Twix, out of California to which state? I just mentioned it.
The stars are bright, big and night, deep in the heart.
Deep in the heart of Nevada.
Taxes.
Taxes.
Right. I wouldn't want to move to a state whose name was an anagram for taxes. Communists.
Yeah. Musk announced plans Tuesday to move his companies to Texas, citing multiple grievances with California laws.
Yeah.
And I get the
State income tax.
income tax, the them going after billionaires, which okay, I get that. Um, but yeah,
Hollywood's going to move to Texas too.
Hollywood's moving all over the place. I mean, all the states have been giving um, Hollywood tax credits to do. I mean, like there's Chillywood in New Mexico. Of course, we know Tom Mann, who
Yep.
does a lot of acting
Movie stuff. Yep.
Yeah,
But
so
it's going to be hard to compete with, again, a state with no state income tax.
this is true. Um, well, I mean, at least for the movies, the taxes are not taken. So, um, yeah, super sad that. Well, he's always been making. Wasn't he supposed to do like some kind of planned city in Texas, or is that?
I don't know. That would be pretty cool, though. You could do that for sure.
I mean, yeah, there's plenty of land to do it. It's just
Not only
water is going to be the big issue for Texas going forward,
that,
especially in West Texas.
you could do that and also build a wind farm. T. Boone Pickens referred to Texas as the Saudi Arabia of wind energy out in the.
I mean, it sucks so bad. I mean, could happen.
Yep.
No, I mean, when I drove out to New Mexico, this is what 2014, 2012, yeah, 2014. There were big wind farms out. It was the first time I ever actually saw those massive windmills was out in West Texas. So they're there. It's just, have you ever seen those things get moved?
Wind farms?
Yeah, the windmills, like the parts for the windmills,
A little bit, I have.
the blades.
Yeah,
So
they're enormous. They on a giant long truck. I've seen that.
actually, we were driving to the LNC meeting in Chicago, and we saw one in Indiana, and they had problems because they were trying to get off the off ramp, and the truck got stuck because it's just so big that they were going to take something out no matter which way they went. But yeah, those things are just massive, and you see them off in the distance. You're like, yeah, those are big, but then you get up next to one of those blades, those things are killer, man.
Yeah.
Question number 3: price of U.S. postage went up again for the second time this year. Who still mails shit? How much does it cost now for a first class postage stamp? I collect stamps. I have no fucking clue.
It's got to be 55 cents.
I think we passed 55 cents long ago.
Really? I don't think so.
We're gonna go out to the fam
Let's
on
see what
this
the
one.
audience says.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm gonna say probably 73 cents.
I'm still
But
sticking with 55.
It's been ages since I've mailed a letter, and when I buy stamps, they are those forever stamps, so they don't even have the price on them. So, Sean says 73.
All right, let's do it.
Ah, correct. Price first class. That's amazing. Like
It is. I remember under a dime.
oh yeah. I mean, I've got tons of stamps. Even American stamps are not my favorite. Worldwide stamps and Middle Eastern stamps particularly.
It's funny. I should give you my old stamp collection. My dad was a scientist. My dad is a scientist, and
AJ got it.
scientists from around the world would send to him letters asking for reprints of his publications.
Yeah.
And so I have this book that's like this big of like stamps from the 70s from around the world.
Oh, that's killer.
Yeah, I'll dig that up for you.
I got a big collection of Iranian Islamic Revolution Iranian stamps from the time, basically since they started issuing stamps until 79. All right, question number 4. Which awards show announced its 2024 nominees this week? The Academy Awards, the Emmy Awards, the Grammy Awards, or the Golden Globes?
It's
Which
got to be.
sounds like a
I don't
porn
know. I'm
award.
guessing it's the Emmys, but I don't know.
I don't either.
It's not the
Golden
Oscars.
Globes. Golden Globes still sound just like a porn award.
And nobody would care, right? For Hollywood Foreign Press was proven to
Yeah.
be racist and sexist, and uh, so it's either the Grammys or the Emmys. I'm gonna guess the Grammys.
Trying to see the picture. It's hard to see. Actually, no. It looks like the wing with the globe
Okay,
being held at. So that's what the
that's the Emmys.
is that the Emmys?
Yep, could be.
All right. Let's see. TV season base. So yeah,
All right,
that is correct.
nice
I was
job.
right.
Good
I was right.
identifying.
Caught that picture out in the
Yep.
winged statue with the globe in their hands. So Emmy Awards nominees for the 76th Emmy Awards, television's top honor, were announced Wednesday. The beloved FX series The Bear has set a new record.
Never even heard of it.
I've heard of it. I don't watch a lot of TV
Yeah,
series.
it was on television.
Yeah. 23 nominations, breaking the record of 22 set by the NBC hit 30 Rock in 2009.
That being said, I saw an interesting chart. It says that like 23% of Americans watch over-the-air television. Like 36% watch cable.
Wow. So that, I mean, 20 over the air television. So what do they count like streaming services? Like I'm on
Those all
YouTube.
have independent numbers. So the top one is, I want to say YouTube, which is something like 11%.
Oh wow. Actually, we've got YouTube and Sling because they've got different channels that we like it.
Yep.
Getting off of cable. The only thing that I will say when it comes to television service now, it's pretty much as expensive as cable was before I got rid of it. But the thing is, you're not getting the monthly charges for boxes. That's where you save money when it comes to getting off of when you cut the cord. Cable's got to get into that idea, that mindset that they're going to have to get more into streaming, more into
remember that's
non-box.
that's what net neutrality was supposed to be, right? The cable companies were going to lock down your access to Netflix and Amazon Prime Video and all that other stuff, but it never happened.
All right, question number 5. President Joe Biden tested positive this week for which virus? It's called the dropping out of the race virus. But COVID-19, influenza, pneumonia, or RSV?
Let's keep going. COVID.
It is COVID. Question number 6. Which iconic hotel on the Las Vegas Strip closed this week after 34 years in business? Dan, you were just there. Is it the Bellagio, the Flamingo, the Tropicana, or the Mirage?
It's the Mirage. And what's interesting is that they couldn't move the machines until they paid out their big lottery. So they kept turning up the odds. So lots of people were going there and playing until the big slot machines hit their incrementals. And then as soon as they did, the machines were removed from the floor.
Wow, that's crazy. So Mirage, correct. Mirage Hotel and Casino that's on the Vegas Strip officially closed on Wednesday or reopened in 2027 as the Hard Rock Las Vegas. Like, I didn't even think Hard Rock was still a thing anymore. But, all right. Oh, it's going to be shaped like a guitar. That's fun. Question number 7. Which soccer team won the 2024 Copa America final? Argentina, England, Spain, or Colombia? Oh, Dan, you're
muted. I would argue that because the United States is the dominant nation in the new world, that England really did win the big Copa America.
No.
However, the soccer game was won by Argentina.
Yeah, so interesting end to not the Argentina-Colombia game, but the
UEFA?
No. It was the game before that for Colombia. Colombia won, um, and players jumped into the losing team's players jumped into the audience because the families of those players were being harassed by the Colombian fans, and it turned into quite a little Donnybrook. Uruguay.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, but Argentina won it, second consecutive and 16th overall, beating Colombia 1-0 in Miami.
Yep.
All right, question number 8. Which fruit, nicknamed green gold, has a history of corruption in Mexico? Avocado, grapes, guava, or kiwi? I gotta say it's avocado.
I agree.
Yeah, let's try it. Hey,
Nice.
I think of all the fruits that I would associate with Mexico, avocados are the biggest one. So,
Yeah.
U.S. Mexican officials are changing the strict process that direct how avocados can make their way to the American kitchens. This comes as the avocado industry remains deeply intertwined with corrupt public authorities. Researchers at the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime said in a report. Sean got it?
Netflix has a series called Rotten,
That's funny.
which looks into a lot of things on food, and they have an episode on avocados. So avocado plants don't ripen until they're taken off of the tree, and avocado trees will grow back from anything. So when there's a drought or avocado farmers need to cut back on what they're doing, they actually cut the trees down, and then they'll grow back when they need them.
Well, I'm going to need help with this number 9. Which song did NASA transmit into space this week? Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, The Rain by Missy Elliott, Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, or Eye of the Tiger by Survivor?
I would guess that because Sir Brian May is an astrophysicist, they did Bohemian Rhapsody. That's just a guess.
I mean, of the 4 songs, I like that one the best.
Excuse me.
Have we gotten the dudes back from the Boeing's SpaceX thing?
No, they were supposed to come back, but then the CrowdStrike thing got them.
And, AJ says Missy.
Oh, all right. I'm glad got that in. Nice job, AJ.
Way to go, AJ.
Is that the one that
whereabouts goes, unknown? She got us.
Is that the one that goes like, "I can't stand the rain against my window"? No. All right. I'm gonna have to play "The Rain" by Missy Elliott.
Question number 10. Which celestial event caught the attention of many people on the East Coast this week? Daytime meteor, lunar eclipse, planetary alignment, or northern lights?
I'm on the East Coast and I missed it.
I missed it too. If it was northern lights, I'm going to be pissed again.
I mean, I'm looking at the pictures, and it's got to be daytime meteor.
It looks very daytime-ish.
Yeah. I mean, planetary alignment you wouldn't see.
Well, with this picture. I know a planetary alignment's coming.
Why would it only be on the East Coast?
Yeah, it wouldn't just be on the East Coast either.
Right.
All right.
So I say daytime meteor.
Wow. Fireball streaked across the sky over New York metropolitan areas. NASA said there will be plenty of opportunities to catch more glimpses of meteors this summer. It's a meteor summer, especially if at barbecue.
That's funny. The Pleiades happens in August, and if you go outside, you will absolutely see a shooting star.
Oh yeah,
you'll probably see hundreds of them. It's a cool thing to see.
I was watching a video, and they were talking about not the Pleiades, but the Perseids. There's one in November, every November, and there are some big pieces in there that, if the wrong big piece gets pulled into our orbit, could give us a bad day or two, or the rest of our existence. So just pay attention to that. Because they, from time to time, they do have some really bright ones that come in from that meteor shower. So, but yeah, 10 out of 10 this week. Back in the win column.
I'm glad.
All right, Dan. What Olympic sport are you looking forward to the most? Paris Olympics start on Friday with one of my favorite events, which is the March of Nations into the stadium. I love watching all these tiny little micronations come out and do their thing.
I tell you, the thing that I am worried about the most is Israel in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Very.
Paris has not been the most friendly area for.
Paris is not. We are aware that security can easily go wrong. I think the Israelis will probably be handling a lot of their own security. But, it's tough to handle something like that when the people you're supposed to be protecting are running 26 miles or something like that. So,
well, I mean, and remember history, 72 with the in Berlin, or not in Berlin, in Munich. That it doesn't even have to be at an event. It can be, they storm now the Olympic villages are very much secure now because of that.
Yeah, because of that. Yeah. And I would suspect that, there will be heavily embedded guards for the Israelis as well.
Yeah. But we also have seen lots of massive security failures in Paris over the years. When it comes to massive events, there was
Charles Hebdo.
Charlie Hebdo, the Bataclan, there was an attack during
the American Eagles concert.
It was a Euro qualifiers, but it was like Germany versus France. So it was like a big one.
Yep.
So I mean, there have been attacks that I do have security concerns with what's going on in Paris. But we kind of feel like that every time we have an Olympics nowadays that we'll see what happens. Jimmy Carter, outlasting President in Cal. Yeah, that's true. Jimmy's getting close. Is he close to 100 now?
I don't know.
I mean, he's 99, so he's getting closer and closer.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
I tell you what, fucking euthanasia better be out there when it's my time. I don't want people coming and looking at my husk of a body for 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be looking good at 100.
Yeah.
October 1st is his 100th birthday. If he wants to make it, great. If not, then...
I mean, I do like the idea of nominating him at the DNC.
I mean, he's only a couple of years older than Joe Biden.
Exactly.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's it for the week. My favorite. Let me tell you, my favorite thing I'm looking forward to as far as the Olympics goes: women's volleyball. I love that sport for many reasons. It's actually a very entertaining sport, but my goodness.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, so what's funny is a friend of mine is the media director for the U.S. volleyball.
Nice.
We could have her on as a guest on the show.
No, I'd say something inappropriate.
Well, you would like her, my friend Laura. In case you're watching, Laura, she's so cool. She worked.
I've always loved volleyball. That is such an entertaining sport to watch.
Yep.
And I'm not like a big fan of like the beach volleyball because it's okay, but it seems like more exploitative than just regular volleyball.
I mean, men's beach volleyball is very exciting. 2 guys covering the whole court and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it is, I guess they're doing soccer again, right? Oh, wait, they're doing flag footballs in 2028.
They're doing or no, they may be doing like conventional lacrosse in 2028.
And flag football, lacrosse for sure. At
Why
the
flag
Olympics.
football?
Let's just find out. Sports at the Olympics.
I mean, I almost rather see arena football at the Olympics than flag football.
I like flag football because I played it for a long time.
Does that mean we're going to get our ass beat by Japan like we did in the International Under-20 Championship?
No.
That wasn't flag football. That was
rugby sevens, which I love.
I love rugby sevens. I love rugby sevens, and we just had a massive sports story, international sports story, last month when the Team USA beat Pakistan in cricket.
Cricket, yep. And cricket is in the Olympics.
And T20 cricket is absolutely amazing. Great sport. I'm not a big fan
lacrosse.
of
Lacrosse is in this year.
Lacrosse is in this year?
According to the Paris Olympic site.
Wow. Must be a demonstration sport this year.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was going to be a demonstration sport for Los Angeles because it is a more American Canadian sport.
It's been at the Olympics before.
Yeah, it has.
So it's interesting. It'll be interesting.
But
2022. Go ahead.
I'm excited for the Olympics. I'm not a big fan of like nationalism and beating your chest and all that stuff, but I do love competitive sports and watching watching some of the storylines play out. How doped up are the Chinese athletes going to be? Of course, Russia isn't participating, one because of the war in Ukraine, but also two have been facing Olympic bans before that war with the whole their doping program. Fencing is entertaining, but a little bit goes a long way for me. But yeah, I mean, every once in a while, watching the fencing is good. I'll probably have the TV on in the office while I'm working, just because all the live stuff will be happening in the early or late morning, early afternoon. France time. So
I'll be interested in soccer, both men's and women's.
Yeah,
that's always entertaining.
Basketball, can we, the men's basketball team, can it hold on to its?
I mean, this is sending a pretty good team this year.
It is, but they barely beat South Sudan yesterday.
Yeah,
South Sudan, not even regular Sudan, South Sudan.
Right.
Although South Sudan has the taller of the people in Sudan. So
yes.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it's a good Olympics. Hopefully, nothing bad happens. I hope everybody who goes there comes back safe, sound, and represents their country well. So, ping pong. Ping pong's an interesting sport. So is badminton. Again, both of those are.
The Dutch dominate badminton. Dutch and Dutch colonies.
Dutch and Thailand, and Singapore.
In Indonesia.
Yeah.
There's a Dutch colony.
Yeah. So.
All right, man.
All right. Well, we will talk to you all next week. I don't know what we'll talk about. We'll talk about something. So have a good night.
I mean, something crazy will have happened in between now and then.
Good Lord. Both the last 2 weeks, we've had big news on the weekend. So
say good night, AJ.
Good night, AJ.